Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today's fun fold is a super easy. I know it's looking pretty complex here. It is a split lattice card design. The first time I saw it, I do believe a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator had said that a lady named B.I. Cameron from the UK, United Kingdom, had come up with this design, and so it is spreading all throughout Pinterest and everyone's blog. So I thought I would do my rendition of it. It's like a lattice. It is so easy to do, but I do want to thank B.B. Cameron from the UK. So if you want to look her up, it's BIBICAMERON. And so I'm going to show you this sweet little card. Now, super simple to do. We're just going to start with a piece of 11 inch by 4 1/4. So 11 by 4 1/4. And we're just going to simply take our cutter and we are going to score it at 5 1/2 using our light scoring blade here, 5 1/2. And then we are going to take off 3 1/4 with the cutting blade. So 3 1/4, so just score it at 5 1/2 because that's where the card is gonna fold in the middle on that 11 inch side. And then we're just going to bring that left side over to 3 1/4. So we're 3 1/4 on the left side of our cutting groove, and we're going to cut off that piece. Okay, so this is going to be our card base. So if you get any little snaggedy edges, you can just get them all fixed with your fingernail or using a little sanding block, a nail block I use. Okay, so now we have this piece here. It's 3 1/4 wide and it's 4 1/4 tall while it's sitting here because we just cut it off of this piece. Now what we're going to do is we are going to cut off 5, as my little granddaughter would say, 5 pieces of these slats that are a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to use the right side of my trimmer. I love cutting small measurements on that side. It's just easier for me to hold that way. So I'm just going to take this over and I'm going to go to a 1/2 inch there. If you're eyeing up that gold tape, it is called wind tape. I got it on Amazon. There's one. And it just helps me to be able to see these lines here because the trimmer we have doesn't have the measurements on the top. So 1, 2, and then we're going over to 1/2 again, and we're just going to cut 5 of these. So simple, like literally, it looks so complex. I love whenever somebody comes up with an idea and then everybody goes through and does it. And then you'll have demonstrators that'll say, I made this card and I use all 50 of the stamp sets in our catalog. And you're like, oh my gosh. So I decided to use another stamp set I haven't seen done. So then we end up with this piece. After we get 5 1/2 inch pieces, we end up with this one, and we're going to cut it in half. And the way I did it is I just kind of eyeballed it, but it actually is 3/8. So if you go over and a 1/2, okay, so 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. So if you really go over to 3/8, it actually is halfway. And then that's like the little tricky part of getting it right there, and then you lift it up and hope no, and then put your cutting blade down and trim it. But if it moves on you, you can simply just cut 2 3/8 inch at 4 1/4. Okay, those are going to be the 2 pieces that hold all of our pieces together here. Now we just come back to our piece we started out with. We're going to score it at that 5 1/2 inch and do a nice burnish on that end. Now, the next thing I did, I used some Post-it tape I have, Post-it the edge of a Post-it note that I had, but I've seen people using our masking tape. Great way to use that. You could use washi tape, something that is a temporary adhesive, and you're just going to put that. I put it on the edge of the bottom of my card. I found it easiest to do for me. And then I just put this down. So now I have this little flap here. Okay, and see it's sticking there? Because we're just going to be using this to keep things in place for right now. I'm gonna get my glue ready. Okay, so you can see that. Okay, my first piece, 1/2 inch piece, I am going to line up right flush with the bottom of the front of the card. Bottom of the front of the card, line it up on the right side and the left side and the bottom, okay? Then I'm gonna go up here and do about, I'd say about 1/8 of an inch in between. And then I'm just lining them up again on each side, and they're hitting the temporary adhesive there. Then I'll go down to this one. This is where I see a couple little hairs on here. I just wanna get those off of there. And like I said, just using a sanding block will get that off for you. Okay, you can see I'm still in place. Then I'm gonna come down to this one, and I'm gonna go about 1/8 of an inch, just making sure that my right and left sides are sticking to, are staying in line, okay? Then maybe give all of your pieces of paper a little shave before you start there. Okay, then I got a little piece sticking there. Okay, then go up to this one and do that about 1/8 inch, lining up on left and right, excuse me. And then this one, I actually might bring this down just a tad, a little bit. And the nice thing about when you're positioning these on a temporary adhesive, like if you think you want to move it a little bit, like I'm looking at this and I'm thinking I have a little more space, so I might actually move this one. I think I can put a little more space in between this. And that's what's nice about this temporary adhesive here that I'm doing. Okay. And then down here, just lining up that lattice, keeping that temporary adhesive, and then put this, going this way. Okay, so now all of my pieces are stuck together on this temporary adhesive on the Post-it note, okay? Now the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hold this down, I'm gonna put a little bit of glue, just a dot, right on these pieces of lattice. Okay, and I'm gonna try to get it, eyeball it, so I'm getting it about the same distance in on the right side and left side. Excuse me. Now the next thing, I've been getting over the flu and a cold, so battling both of them. So we're gonna take these 3/8 inch ones, and we are going to take it a tiny bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch up above that line. Okay, but whatever distance we do, just make sure you do that same distance on the other side. Excuse me, I was afraid when I started this video that I was not going to make it through. Why, excuse me. What's funny is the only liquid I have on the table right now is this small little champagne bottle that I used for a prop for something. And I was thinking, what if I opened up that champagne and drank it right now? Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're lining up this other lattice and we're putting it about the same distance above on the top and the same distance in from the side. Now this is the key part here, is you want to make sure that you don't start a video when you have a cough. Okay, you want to make sure that you have got a secure totally glued down on these vertical lattice framework here, because if you pull off your sticky note now and these aren't totally glued down, you're going to get a crooked bottom one, or one of them's going to be crooked. So I learned that the hard way the first time. So what we did is I just made sure that this is nice and glued down. I'm going to pop this over here for a second, and we'll take another look here at this card. Make sure that's glued down there. Now I use this great stamp set, the Heavenly Hollyhocks. I actually just used the sentiments in there. This hello and this sentiment I love, and I'll link to a card I did when I stamped these and then layered them. But what I did is I used the layering Hollyhocks dies. And there's two beautiful dies in there. One cuts like a chunkier flower, and then this one goes on top here. And I did that on the outside, and I did that on the inside here. So what we'll do is, I'm going to get out, I have some glue that I used to, and I'm gonna get my mat here. It's over here on, I removed it from my table, but so what I want to do is put some glue on the back of my white, and I do see I have a little rip in my white, but that's going to be okay. So, and I'm not sure if I would use my adhesive sheets, because it might be a little tricky getting it pulled off. I just saw a little guy there. It's like playing Operation. Okay, so we're getting some glue on these little lacy pieces here. Okay. So I'm just going to lift that up before I get that glue everywhere. See all those little pieces of glue? But I'll be able to just rub them right off. So now I'm going to layer that onto this chunkier one here. And I love with this card, you can use like any color flower you like. I kind of played around and used polished pink, one of our outgoing. Okay, get it in one place and then just play around to get it into place there. It looks like I almost have it right. Okay, there. My little torn piece here. I don't think anybody will be any of the wiser. Let me get my piercing tool and maybe move that over there a little bit. Let's put a little bit of glue under there. I had a ton of this two-way adhesive glue that used to be one of Stampin' Up's good glues, and I loved it, and I bought a bunch of it, and I'm still using it. So we're just going to sit that together there and get that adhered. Okay, so we have the flower that's going to go on the outside, and the flower that's going to go on the inside. There's also one that has the really pretty, kind of mimics that there, and we're going to put that over here so we don't get this glue on the back of that. And of course, you always have those little doohickeys that want to stay in there. Okay, and here we go. Get some glue on there. Pick this up. Get that out of the way. And put that on there. So that's going to be on our inside. So now let's jump back to our actual card. Okay. So now you're going to take and cut off these bottom little pieces here. Okay. Just go from the inside of the card Cut those off the bottom. Okay, there you go. And then we can easily take off this Post-it note now that it's all glued down. And like I said, don't be too fast to take off your temporary adhesive, because if you do, this gets crooked because the pieces pull a little bit. So that is our pretty lattice there, okay? So you need to have something that covers up the inside of this. So a simple way to do that is just to create kind of like a card inside a card. So we're just gonna do that. So I did cut this down. Now I used 8.5, scoring at 4 1/4, but instead of it being 5.5, I have it 5 3/8, because if it's exactly 5.5, I was finding it hard to fold down here. So just do your 5 3/8 by 8.5 and score at 4 1/4, and then that's going to go right inside your card, and then you'll be able to open it up. But we're going to put this piece here, and this is from that celebration paper that we had, Dandy Designs. I loved that Dandy Designs. The colors were so great in it. I may be using it for quite a while. So what we're going to do is put that at the bottom of the card here. I'm opening it this way. It just kind of feels right that way to me. So we're just going to put that right on the bottom of the card, making it flush that way. But if you wanted to do it this way, you would have put it that way. But I just kind of think it makes sense to open it this way for me. I don't know. Maybe it makes sense to open it like a book. I don't know. I just liked it this way. So that's the way I did it. Okay, so now, maybe it's because my right hand. So we're just going to put that right down and adhere it to our card. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, and I'm putting glue over the whole squiggly part, even though you might write on there. I just wanted to get it down there. So once again, you're going to line up the left and the right and the bottom, meaning right here, flush here. Ooh, look at all that glue. Okay, so now I don't have any problem with my card closing. It's not too bulky because I took off that little tiny sliver at the top, and then the card opens that way. I can stamp my sentiment there, and I chose this is one of the few stamp sets. We don't have enough of these Get Well wishes in there, so I really loved making this card because of the Get Well wish, sending Get Well wishes your way. So I'm going to use polished pink ink. I'm going to get my sentiment inked up here. I'm going to stamp it right along the inside there. And that green DSP that I put in there was 3.5, because I needed to go above the 3 1/4 that we cut off. So 3.5 there. And then we are going to stamp, we might as well put our flower on the inside here. And I think, how did I do that? I did it this way with the white going this way. So we can easily put some glue here on these bigger chunky parts of the polished pink. I like that. A lot easier than doing those little fiddly pieces over here. Okay, so we're gonna just put that there. Gives it something real pretty to look at on the inside. There we go. And then I actually left this blank in here. Why? I just haven't decided what I'm gonna do with it yet. So great place to write your message in here. Okay, so now we are going to stamp that front. Now I found it easier to open up the card, and like I said, I do notice I've got some little, not that it would matter right now, but it was making me crazy. Now you could easily take this hello and stamp it right on this lattice, and it almost makes me want to try that, because this I'm going to put on here. But I mean, I could have put the sentiment down here, but it just seemed a little open up here, so that's why I decided to just go ahead and put the hello 3 times up there. So we're just going to do that. And the way I did it is I eyeballed it, but what I did is I knew I wanted to show a little bit of that lattice, but I wanted to use this to adhere a little bit too. So I put my flower as if I was, you know, going to have it in place there. And then I took my hello and I stamped the bottom one so that I knew it would fit on. And then I did the next two L's right above the H. There. And then once again, I'll put the H, the LL right there. And then it just kind of had like the rule of threes there. Okay, so now the trickiest part to this card, I don't think was the cutting. I don't think it was finagling it. I think is getting this piece adhered to the lattice, because you can definitely adhere it up here, but down here, if you get glue in different places, it's going to glue onto the inside of your card. So I think you need to like be a little bit of a magician here. So I'm using a little bit of glue, knowing it's going to go there. You could put a piece of glue on a little piece of paper like this. Little trick, if you can get the glue out. Okay, so you see I have some glue on here. We could say, okay, I know this part is going to be glued down. I can do that. I know this part here is going to be glued down. And if you have a different, if you're using a different flower or stamp or image or whatever, die cut there, you just have to just be careful that you're not putting glue inside these open spots, because that will, oh, why don't I just use my little tweezers here? Because that's going to then glue in your card. Okay, so I'm just like saying, oh, okay, right there, put it down. Right here, put it down. Right here, put it down. Now it gets a little easier up here because there's a lot to pick from, okay? And the funny things we do. You're probably all out there saying, there's a lot easier way to do that, Cindy. Why are you doing it that way? But I do, oh, I already put that one down. So this one, I know this needs some glue. This needs some glue. This needs some glue. Get that down. As you can see, like I said, I think this is the trickiest part of the card. Okay, we got some there. I think we got that one, didn't we? Yeah, get a little glue under that one. Okay, there we go. And now we can close the card. This is where that magic happens. When it closes, you see the green coming through. And then I just threw some little pearls on there because they just seemed to be delicate and white. And so I put them on there. Now remember, we have some really pretty in color rhinestone type things. And I did have a few polished pink ones. And right here, how about that? 3. Haha. There we go. Now, was that easy or what? I mean, we literally, this is such a cute card, but it was so easy. Split lattice, and you literally started with a piece of, let's just pretend here. We started with a piece of 4 1/4 by 11. I do know this is off a little bit. Just to show you. So we started with 4 1/4 by 11. We scored at 5 1/2. We cut off 3 1/4 off of the end, and then we left it in the cutter, and we cut along that 3 1/4 inch side at the top. We cut off 5 1/2 inch increments. So we got these slats here. And then the last piece that was left over, if you cut it straight in half, you're going to have 3/8 and 3/8, which is 6/8, which is 3/4. So you're going to end up with 5 1/2, and then the last one is 3/4. And if you split 3/4 in half, you get 3/8. And then that was what we did. And we just took some kind of Post-it note and we put it down on our card. And then we put this down and we went across. Then we put glue on those things and then we put those down. We made sure not to remove this until this was completely dry. And then we just made our card. And like I said, you could open this from either side. I should have did one way and one the other way, but I kind of like this way. And I just did your typical card that was 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. But instead of 5 1/2, I brought it down to 5 3/8. And that just gave you room so that you're not all bunched up here at the score line where you fold it. And that is how simple that card is. It was made really fun and easy by using these dies and the layering hollyhocks dies with the Heavenly Hollyhocks bundle. So I am thinking that there's a lot. I mean, this card is all over Pinterest right now. This was just my rendition of it. And I think you'll have some fun. Just look at all your different flowers and ivies and things that could kind of go across a lattice. And then I just did the little 3 hellos across there. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call at 724-323-2296. I just had a sweet lady, Louisa, who just was texting with me asking about some measurements and stuff. So I love it when you guys have questions. Please don't hesitate to contact me. You can subscribe to my blog, CindyLeeBDesigns.com. All the materials I use, links to my online store are there underneath the YouTube description. Visit my blog here, press that. It takes you over there for photos of my cards and the measurements written out as well. So you can subscribe to the blog and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me some thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Thank you so much. We made it through, and I will be seeing you. You'll be seeing my hands again soon. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.